Hi, this is Minders Glover, and in today's video, I wanted to present a more detailed strategy on a product launch element called Value Ladder. So basically, this is all about your ascension sequence for your value ladder. Many people struggle with the concept of how to introduce one product after another. So for example, a value ladder is just as the name implies. It's kind of like a step function going up a step, flat platform, up a step, another flat platform, and so forth. And so typically a value ladder might be a free lead gen at the bottom where you post live or you do some podcasts or what have you to get people to opt into a lead generation PDF or report. And then that in fact leads you then to the next step in your process, which might be, say, a challenge, a low-priced 5-day challenge leading to a higher priced product delivered via a webinar, one of your bigger programs, and then ultimately into group coaching and maybe even mastermind. So you can see here that typically they proceed in terms of free to low cost to higher cost content. So I want to tell you a story about the value ladder proposition for me in my business. And there have been times when I have struggled with this. And I think the reason has been because I think in terms of typically delivering a higher level of content with each step in the value ladder. So what happens if you deliver a, say, social media content, how to maximize your social media presence, and then the next step is how to create a lead gen and build your list, then leading into launch content. And so part of the problem is worrying if people join you higher up on the value ladder, will they have missed some of the lower rungs on the ladder that are essential in your higher level course? And so I want to show you 4 different models, and basically they're assumptions for creating an ascension ladder for your product ascension in product launches that I use with my clients. So what I'm going to do now is share this slide with you so that I can give you this pretty straightforward. So here, what you're looking at are 4 product ascension models. And this is for subsequent steps in your value ladder. So the 4 ways to look at it are indicated here. And as I mentioned, step 4 is what I had been struggling with for so long. And that is that you ascend with more content that moves people further along, but you have to somehow account for the fact that people may not have picked up that earlier content, depending where they join you in the value ladder. So that's a very viable way to do it. But if you can't wrap your head around that, there are 3 other very viable ways to do it. And the first one is where the expert and the team involvement increases as you move through your value ladder and offer different versions of your product, course, etc. And so the first one is you do it. So this is typically where you might create a course, a self-study course, where your student can study the course and implement it for themselves. Then the next level is the done with you, where you might even have a group setting where you introduce a concept through some training videos, and then you work with the student with templates and tools and live sessions in a group to help them implement that next movement up your value ladder for them. So they're moving further along, but they're getting some additional help and not having to do it on their own. And then finally, the done for you model, where I might just implement it for you. So I might build your funnel out for you, or I might design your copy for you, or do your social media content for you. So these are levels of team involvement, and they're also coinciding with the choice that you might make for yourself in your business. And that's what that aspect is all about. Now let's talk about access to the expert as the next model. All right. And so there are some schools that say in the beginning, you're not, as the expert, not going to be visible for your students. You're going to have to provide very little access to you. So this might be in a course where you record yourself on a video, but there's no way for people to interact with you. Maybe they can interact with your team through questions and answers and comments and so forth. But little access to you. Then as you move up in your value ladder, there may be more access to you, such as in a group call where you get to answer your questions, to ask questions and get them answered by the expert. And then, of course, the next level is, say, in a one-to-one situation or a mastermind, where you might get a much higher level of access to the expert, including the ability to send them messages on Slack or to use a voice messaging app like Voxer. And then finally, we want to talk about the same topic with more layers model. So this is one that really makes sense for a lot of people in the information product business. And that's the idea of you're presenting the same content at deeper levels. And so the first one is where you introduce a concept at an overview level. So you might do this in a clubhouse, or you might do this in a short video or a live that you do on Facebook, or what have you. And then as you move to the next level, you might introduce a low price point product that goes over the strategy on how to implement the area that you're talking about. And then finally, as you go into it, it's more the deep level of the implementation. And that's where they buy your higher level course so that they can learn how to actually implement the deep levels of the strategy for themselves. So those are the 4 product ascension models. The fourth one we started out is my personal example, where you might introduce a social media implementation, build a list implementation, then create a product. And each of these builds on the others so that the student is ready to buy your more advanced program. So hope you found this helpful. I want to just share a link to my resources where you can find out more about me and my launch services. So go to www.rebrand.ly/MG links. So rebrandly/MG links, and you can get links to my websites, Facebook properties, and even my free roadmap. So great. With that, then I will see you guys next time. And thanks for joining me here. I'm going to stop my share and going to go ahead and end this live.